Hello and welcome back to What It Feels Like. We will be continuing where we left off, which, if you recall, is after Mylo metió la pata, which is Spanish for he did something very dumb. I mean, really, there is no way to say it other than saying that he did something very, very dumb. But, like, I guess you could say you could kind of see it coming. That, regardless of all the things that he's been going through, regardless of all the little revelations that he's been having and everything, that he was always going to end up doing this, unfortunately. But maybe and hopefully after this, what just happened, maybe he'll finally realize, you know what? Jakob isn't... there's no reason to wait for Jakob anymore. Even if Baxter isn't an option, there is no reason to wait for somebody that's just going to treat you like a doormat, basically. Mylo. Other than that, though, they were able to finally perform for the first time, well, in a long time, I guess, thanks to Baxter. And that actually impressed them, referring to Baxter. And yeah, we also met Dhalia, and we had a little conversation with Stella. So yeah, I wonder if that's gonna come up again. Anywho, so without further ado, let us continue What It Feels Like, and this should be act or chapter 5, I think. Chilly autumn air blew through the street that morning, about 2 years ago. I walked with Lizzie side by side through an unfamiliar yet very pretty neighborhood, pumpkins and jack-o'-lanterns adorning the front porches of the houses. I was nervous, unsure. I was always like that back then, a shy, anxious mess. I constantly wondered why Lizzie was even friends with me up until that point. Are you sure about this? I mean, we don't even know these guys. Relax. What's the worst that can happen? Besides, I know them. Well, a White at least. I can think of a lot of bad things that can happen. And White Harris? Yeah, him. Why? He looks like he'd shoot up the school if he had a bad day. You are so mean. I think he's kinda cute. He's not really my type. She rolled her eyes at me. Your type in guys is a mystery to me, Mylo. We eventually reached the house, a big suburban thing, a lawn full of orange and red leaves in neat little piles. Lizzie gave the front door a knock and flashed me an excited smile. I hesitantly returned it, giving her a half-hearted thumbs up. The front door opened and Wyatt stood there, tall and unflinching. I remember feeling Lizzie tense up next to me. She always did like the big, strong type. Oh, hey, you're here. Yeah. Hi, Wyatt. This is Mylo. He's a songwriter. Yeah, I know him. Hey, Mylo. Hey, nice to meet you. He nodded and let us in, leading us straight to his garage with no small talk in between. That was the first time that I ever saw Jakob, tall, lean, electric guitar strapped on him, and playing a little tune, with a frown of concentration etched into his face. I won't say that it was love at first sight. I don't believe in that. But it did feel like sparks flew the moment that I laid my eyes on him. And when his dark, golden eyes landed on mine, it was like the sparks lit a fuse in my stomach, making fireworks burst inside of it. This is Jakob, the guitarist I told you about. Jakob nodded at us, barely really acknowledging our presence. Hey. Hi. Awesome. So we're all here. Let's start off then. That was the day that we formed the band. We played songs we all knew at first, the standard alt-rock tracks that were a staple of the genre. After a while, though, Jakob and Wyatt started experimenting with sounds, and Lizzie and I followed their lead. It was the first time that I sang with other people, other than Lizzie, of course, playing as a band, the live, raw instruments all coming together to make music, new music no one's ever heard of, It made me giddy with excitement I never felt before. After a while, we stopped and Lizzie and Wyatt started to chat about a class that they were in together. Something about homework, I think. Hey Liz, I'm gonna head out. I'll catch you later. We shared a secret look, both of us knowing what I was doing, and she nodded gratefully. Sure. Call me when you get home. You too. Then Jacob's hand landed on my shoulder, giving it a small squeeze. I blushed from head to toe. I could give you a ride if you want. I looked at him, then at Lizzie, who gave me yet another secret look. Everything was falling into place, or so it seemed. Oh, all right. Thank you. Wordlessly, Jacob led me to his car, a faded blue sedan that looked pretty old, and I got into the passenger seat, the rumble of the engine startling me a bit. Sorry, it's old. He smiled at me. For the first time the entire day, he smiled just when we were alone. I returned it. At least you have a car. Can't drive? I can. I just don't have a car. My sister took it with her to college. She's not studying here? Nope. Went to Boston. She's studying medicine. Her funeral. Medicine's a tough field. We made casual conversation, my nerves getting smaller and smaller the closer that we got to my house. I remember wishing that we never got there. But we did, of course. I'm about to open the door when he spoke up, stopping me in my tracks. You know, you've got a great voice. Oh, thank you. I smiled at him, embarrassed, and he gave me another one of his cool smiles. Yeah, you just need more confidence, man. Sing your guts out. I'll definitely try. He nodded, lingering his stare on me for a little bit longer than was comfortable, but somehow I didn't mind. Good. I'll see you around then, Mylo. He rubbed my arm in an affectionate way, and it made me shudder unexpectedly. He noticed. I'm sure that he did, with the way that he chuckled. See you, Jacob. And I fell asleep that night, dreaming of when I'd see him again. Mylo. Is it him calling me? Is it him at the door? Has he come to take me back? Mylo, are you going to get up, or should I tell your dad that you're dropping out of college? Tempting. No, I'm up. Good. Don't make Baxter wait outside for you, okay? Hurry up and get dressed. She leaves my room and it takes me a minute to gather the energy to get up, then another one to actually drag myself out of bed. There's a sort of monochrome gray haze that hangs in the air today, too, as I groggily get dressed and wash my face in the bathroom. Dark, ugly circles paint the underside of my eyes, no doubt from a lack of sleep, but the depression isn't helping. Am I depressed? Or just heartbroken? Is there even a difference? Who cares? I feel like shit either way. I drag myself down the stairs and gather my things, deciding to wait for Baxter outside, thinking maybe the sun will somehow fix my mood, only to be met with a particularly cloudy day. So perfect, the world is telling me to go fuck myself. It doesn't take too long for Baxter to show up, thankfully, and when he comes to a stop, instead of just patting the back of the seat like he usually does these days, he gets off the bike, leaning on it as I walk over to him. Hey, Russo. Hey. You doing okay? Yeah. Cool. It's painfully awkward between us, and I'm thinking maybe it's just my mood, until I remember what happened before Jacob picked me up from the party. Our talk, the tiny fight between them. The kiss. As much as I hate the uncomfortable air between us right now, I unfortunately don't have the energy to confront it, so instead I just step in and press my body against his, hoping that we could just hug it out. We do it all the time anyways. Thankfully, he reciprocates the gesture and I feel him sigh in relief against me, rubbing my back in small, soothing circles. So you're just hungover, huh? Yeah, let's go with that. I'm gagging at the smell of hand sanitizer. You tell me. Yeah, we overdid it. It was pretty bad for me too. I look up at him, a bit worried. Are you okay now? I'm sorry I didn't call. He smiles down at me, rubbing my cheek fluff. Don't worry about it. I had a nurse. My roommate. He seems nice then. He can be. He can also be an asshole. But we get along. He pulls me back into his body, sighing against the top of my head, and I squeeze him tighter. Who needs the sun anyways? Baxter's way warmer after all. We walk down the halls, hands linked together as they usually are these days, and I drop him off in the front of the classroom, knowing we won't be seeing each other until tomorrow, probably. Well, I'll see you then. Hold on. He pulls me into his body, holding me by the waist, right there in the middle of the hallway. Should we talk about it? Talk about what? So we're gonna pretend that it didn't happen. Got it. You mean the kiss, right? Yeah, the kiss. Listen, I will make things awkward if you don't. In fact, here. I leaned in and gave him a soft, quick peck right on the lips. See? Not weird. This time he leans into me, kissing me and letting it linger for a bit before pulling away, licking his lips with a cocky grin. You're right, not weird at all. Kinda nice, actually. Why don't we do this more often? Don't push your luck. You don't like it? I didn't say that. Don't mock me. But you're so predictable. I grumble in annoyance and lean in to give him another kiss, this time firm and deep, and when I pull away, there is a light blush on his face. Like that? Wait, what'd you do? I blanked out for a sec. Do it again. You're an idiot. You're an idiot for kissing an idiot. Go to class already. What are you doing later? Huh? Nothing. Why? Wanna come over to my place? We can work on the project. I glare at him. Actually, work on it this time. Swear it. Scout's honor. You weren't a Boy Scout, were you? 2 years, yeah. Aw, I bet the uniform still fits. Maybe. I could try it on and show you, though don't blame me if it rips and you end up seeing everything. I can't out-tease you. That's right, and don't you forget it. So, coming over? Yeah, alright. I'll come. Not like that. He laughs and finally lets me go, giving me a wink before going into his class. Only then is when I realize that I'm getting dirty looks from people passing by in the hallway, and I blush hard. Well, I guess that was kind of PDA, huh? I lick my lips, walking away. In the end, it was me who ended up kissing Baxter like it was nothing. But he was right. It did feel kind of good. Without Baxter, the day returns to being a groggy, gray blur. It's like the tiny ray of sunshine that is him suddenly leaves and it's all dark and cloudy again. Yuck. That sounded a lot sappier than I thought. In any case, lunchtime finally rolls around and Lizzie and I meet up at the small cafe Baxter and I had breakfast sometimes. I feel guilty being around her, though after that happened. I called Lizzie and she and Wyatt came to Jacob's apartment to pick me up, and she took care of me in my gross, hungover state. So basically, I, A, went back to Jacob, who she already hates, and B, made her play nurse as she made sure that I was hydrated and okay all day yesterday. Needless to say, lunch was on me today. You know it's fine, right? I'm not like pissed or annoyed or anything. You're gonna complain about the free food? I ain't complaining. I'm just making sure that you know that I am not mad at you. I know, but I still feel awful about everything. It'll be okay. My honest. You were wasted. It kind of feels to me like he took advantage of you. If I'm pissed at anyone, it's him. I shake my head. I'm not exactly blameless. I wasn't entirely out of it. You weren't entirely in your right state of mind either. Honestly, if I ever catch him, I'll let him have it. Don't beat him up. No fucking promises. She takes a sip of her drink, sighing. You know what? Let's take our mind off of things. You know what we haven't done in a while? What? Gossip. Oh boy. Anything juicy? She sits back, a grin plastered on her face as she stirs her drink, and I can tell that she can barely contain herself. Guess. Who's pregnant? Shut up. Who? Guess. Amanda? Amanda who? Amanda P. from philosophy? Ugh, no. She wishes. You know she's dating one of our professors, right? I bet she thinks that she'll get this sugar daddy cash. What a creep though, Mr. Anderson. Doesn't he have a wife? Yeah, he's awful. He's definitely taking advantage of her, the weirdo. But if I were her, I would be smart enough to tell the guy to piss off. Anyways, yeah, it's not her. Good guess though. It's someone you'd never expect. Oh god. Melissa? No. Why would you guess her? I don't know. Doesn't she have like a stoner boyfriend without a job? She broke up with him like 2 weeks ago, and good riddance too. Oh, thank God. Yeah, she can do way better. So, who? Sandra. From statistics? Sandra from statistics, yep. No. How do you know? She's been like super weird lately, wearing big sweaters in the middle of March when she used to wear crop tops in December. She also doesn't go to parties anymore, or so I've heard. That doesn't mean she's pregnant. She got engaged to her boyfriend last month, and they've been together for 3 in total. She's totally pregnant. Yep. Poor her. She was about to graduate too. I know, and she's Catholic too, so the other option's out of the question. She's definitely keeping it. You think that she'll have a baby shower? Maybe. She does like her parties. Yeah. She takes a sip of her drink again. Well, glad that I got that out of my system. Although, there is some more gossip that's been spewing around. About you. About me? Everyone wants to know who Baxter's new boy toy is, and how he managed to land that. Are they really calling me boy toy? Nah, that wasn't me. But needless to say, everyone's curious about how you were able to lock him down. He had a reputation for being a ladies' man a while back, so it's a shock that he settled down. With that guy, no less. You sure know a lot about him. I'm just an eavesdropper. I love to stay informed. And the general consensus about you too? They think that it's cute that Baxter settled down, but people hate your guts. They do? Yeah, everyone's saying that he can do better. Obviously, when people ask me about it, I tell them that you're the prize, not him. But people already liked Baxter and don't know you, so it makes sense that they'd pick a side of sorts. You think Baxter's heard of this? Probably. She shrugs. He does hang around the crowd that kind of loves the gossip, but I'm guessing that he doesn't pay them much mind. It's all fake anyways, right? I see. I take a bite of my fries, pondering this. I guess it makes sense. I'm like the nerd the jock in high school suddenly starts dating and everyone's confused as to why. I've read this in books before. But this isn't high school, and it's not some cheesy teen romance novel. It's real and people actually think these things of me. I shudder. A small taste of fame, I suppose. Better get used to it. But hey, it's not like the same wouldn't have happened if you started dating Jakob. You sure know how to choose him, my. I guess that's true. God, why is romance so complicated? Blech. Or maybe it isn't and it's just me. I don't think that I've ever seen you and Wyatt fight. It's not all rose-colored days. Sometimes we definitely don't see eye to eye. Like what? Well, lately we've been kind of having more fights because I'm honestly worried about our future. Wyatt wants to keep pursuing music, but I don't know if it's something that I'd want to keep doing, you know? Oh, like the band? Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. I love playing with you guys, but music has always been your dream, Mylo, not mine. I got into it because I thought that it'd be fun for us, and it is, but we're not cute little high schoolers anymore. We're cute little college students, and pretty soon we're gonna be cute little college graduates. And when that time comes, I want to have a plan for the future, and I want Wyatt there next to me, but his sights seem to be set somewhere else. I sort of always knew the day would come when the band would eventually disband. Lizzie's right, we can't keep this up forever. But I've had always sort of hoped that we would still play together even after college. But I guess that's just wishful thinking. I don't know why I was that serious about music too. Yeah, he's a lot like you, in that way. It's the sort of drive that I both admire and hate, since it seems to consume you completely. I guess that's where the fights come from, and I feel like he's putting music above me. That, in his future, I come second. I... I see. I guess I can understand your point of view too. God knows I hate coming second. She scoffs, nodding. Yeah. Hey Mylo, if one day you had to choose between music and me, what would you choose? Uh... The question takes me aback, making me blink in surprise, and she smiles at me almost apologetically. Sorry, I just figured that since you and Wyatt share that dream, I'd like to know what you'd choose, so I can understand him a bit better. Music or Lizzie? I don't think that I had ever had to make that choice, but if I absolutely had to choose between them, my dream and my best friend, what would I do? I... I don't think that I'd be able to choose. She smiles. Wyatt said the same thing. She chuckles and sighs, looking into the cafe in deep thought. I guess there's nothing more stubborn than a man with a dream. We pay for our food and head back to campus, and as we're walking towards the library to hang out in there until our next class, we pass by a now familiar fox, staring right at us. Once we lock eyes, she smiles politely at us and I return it, thinking that that's probably the extent of the interaction until she quickly makes her way over to us, that sweet look etched into her face. Hi, Mylo. Dhalia. Hey. I hope you're not busy. She looks at Lizzie apologetically and she quickly takes the hint, starting to walk off without us. Oh, you want to talk with him? No worries, I'll give you two some space. See ya, Mai. She shoots me a knowing look that says good luck and keeps walking, heading towards the library on her own, leaving me and my fake boyfriend's ex almost something alone. Oh, the mess that I've gotten myself into. What's up? Is everything okay? Yeah, everything's fine. I just, do you have a minute? I feel like there's some stuff that we should talk about. Nerves start to bubble up in my stomach, and I feel like I have an idea on where this is going. Is this going to be like a hey girl text kind of thing? Is she gonna admit Baxter's been seeing her behind my back? The thought of him doing what I've been doing, hanging out together during the day and seeing her at night, makes me shudder in jealousy before I can stop the feeling to invade my body. I really am a hypocrite. Uh, okay then. Let's talk. We find a bench somewhere less crowded on campus, and once we're seated side by side, she sighs somewhat nervously, pulling at her short skirt to cover more of herself. So, sorry if this is sudden. It's fine. I, wasn't doing much anyways. Is this about Baxter? Yeah, it is. I figured that you'd catch on. knowing Baxter, he probably hasn't told you any of this, but, well, he and I, we sort of almost dated. Kind of. It's complicated. I never really went through with the next step, even though he wanted to. So it was like we were dating, I guess. Dhalia chuckles, clearly embarrassed about this, and the nerves that I had to start dissipate for a second. Oh, well, I did know that. Oh. He told you? Well, yeah. Baxter's nothing if not honest. Huh. Yeah, that's definitely true. And it doesn't bother you, then, that we're still friends? She seems nervous, and I can tell that there's something she's not exactly proud of. I mean, of course I knew Baxter talks to Dhalia on a particularly daily basis, and who's to say that they don't do more than just talk? It's possible that we didn't take this into account in our plan, Dhalia or Jakob confessing to one of us that we're clearly not being loyal to the other. But she's not confessing to anything just yet, and if I can avoid that and further the plan in the process, I will, even if it means losing Baxter. If he gets his happy ending, that's all that matters. One of us should get it, at least. It doesn't bother me. Baxter's been an amazing boyfriend, and I'm not really the jealous type. Although, if I'm being honest, I do get worried that there are lingering feelings here. He does talk highly of you, and I can tell that he really liked you at one point. Honestly, if you tried to steal him away, I wouldn't stand a chance. Oh, no. I would never do that. I'm sure Baxter loves you much more than he ever loved me. I mean, liked me. Or, you know what I mean? Damn it, she is too sweet for her own good. Be a little selfish woman. Well, good to know. Ultimately, though, it is his choice, isn't it? You two have history and, well, it helps that you're someone that he can be with, without getting dirty looks from strangers when you're together. I'm sure Baxter doesn't really care about that kind of stuff. He's the kind of guy that will love you with all his heart, and doesn't matter what others say about it. I mean, honestly, Baxter never really misses an opportunity to try and impress you. Defending you would just be a bonus in his eyes, I'm sure. He's just sweet like that, so innocently kind. My eyes twitch involuntarily and I look away, bouncing my leg in annoyance. This girl, talking like she knows all about Baxter. She might as well sigh dreamily and admit that she wants him right here and now, if she's gonna be saying things like that. And innocently kind? Baxter is anything but innocent. Oh, I've never steal him away from you, my ass. Bet she's counting the hours to steal him away from me. Not that he's mine or anything. I shake away the feeling and put on a smile, facing her again. Yeah, he is a great guy. I just hope that he's made the right choice, you know. I feel like you'd be a way better partner than me sometimes. I don't know about that. After all, it was me who pushed him away. And you regret it now? I guess. I mean, no. He's with you now, so obviously it's fine. As long as he's happy. That's fine with me. And do you think he's happy? With me? More than he would be with you? I don't know. All I know is that he does look much happier now, so that must be a good thing. She smiles, then gets up from the bench, giving me a polite nod. I hope I didn't make things too awkward. I have a tendency to be, not the best at conversations. I just, thought that you should know about that, maybe. I really do think that you two make a cute couple. Baxter's lucky to have someone as kind and talented as you. She gives me a small wave, adjusting her purse and walking off, her bushy tail swaying side to side as she leaves. I look up at the sky, the bright blue burning my eyes a bit, so I shut them quickly, just feeling the sun against my fur. Does Baxter really seem happier now? Is it because of me? Thinking like this does me no good. I'm already a bit weirded out by how jealous I am of Dhalia, but maybe it's just a byproduct of pretending for so long now. Maybe even I'm starting to believe it. I figured that that's what must be going on with Baxter too. I'm his fake boyfriend too, after all. Maybe a tiny part of him is getting attached to me, just as I am of him. But Dhalia still loves Baxter. That much is painfully apparent. And if he even has the smallest chance of getting together with her, I want to help him as much as I can. Jakob flashes through my mind and another pang of sadness hits me across the chest, making me squeeze my eyes shut tighter than before. My dream was him, and now, despite my best efforts to stay positive, to stay naive, the illusion is breaking, and I'm starting to think that this love story isn't really going to happen after all. So, if it won't happen for me, I'll do everything that I can, so that it happens for Baxter. It's late afternoon by the time that I show up at Baxter's apartment. My mood is a mix of depressive and ambitious. What a combo. I give his apartment door a hearty knock, and after some shuffling sounds, the door swings open, and who else but my cheetah stands inside? Wearing nothing but a towel. Russo! Meowdy! You're early. You, didn't exactly give me a time. My eyes wander down to his treasure trail, the fur underneath his belly button longer than the rest of his body, and when my eyes flick back to his own, he grins. True. Come inside. I'll change quickly. No rush. Baxter's apartment is a bit homier than I expected it to be, a surprising coziness from a place that's shared by 2 college students. And speaking of 2, on a small table in the living room is who I can only assume to be Baxter's roommate, a short rabbit with darker circles under his eyes than mine, typing away on his computer. Oh hey, this is my roommate, Chuck. Chuck? Russo. He looks up at me for 1 second, then returns his attention to the screen in front of him. Hey. Charmed. Come on, Chuck. Don't be rude. I'll be right back. Gotta change. He winks at me, then disappears into his bedroom, and I stand awkwardly in the middle of the living room until Chuck wordlessly points at a seat directly across the table. Thanks. I sit down and it's dead silent for about an entire minute. Baxter had a dream about you. What? Yeah, he told me. We had to change the sheets. It was pretty intense. He also said that he's to the thought of you once or twice. He finally looks up at me and a small smile spreads across his face as he sees how red I've gotten. What do you think about that? Russo. The sound of Baxter's door opening makes me jump, and once he steps into the living room and takes a look at me, his smile fades and he turns angrily at Chuck. What did you tell him? What do you think I told him? Alright, out, now. Chuck shrugs nonchalantly and gets up, closing his laptop and heading towards the door, a smug look on his face. See ya. I can see why he and Wyatt are friends. You had a stream about me? I fucking knew he ratted me out. I blink innocently at him, and he frowns, blushing hard. We have shit to do, Russo. Let us not get sidetracked over things that may or may not have happened. He huffs, clearly embarrassed, and he grabs his backpack from the couch, taking out his computer. But I wanna know. So for the project, what were you thinking that we can make the topic on? Oh, come on, don't. I was thinking that we could do it about inflation prices, but if you got ideas that we can work with that too. I huff, annoyed. So he's gonna just ignore it? Fine, I'll drop it. For now, of course. So you start off. Give them the numbers and I'll go more in depth about it. You're not just gonna bullshit it, are you? I want to see flashcards on your hands. Psh, me? Flashcards? I got this, Russo. I may not be book smart, but I'm damn good at talking. Yeah, that's for sure. Anyways, we got the slides done, the research, and we both know what we're gonna say. So I say that this was a success. Told you that we'd get this all done in time. Well, don't be too happy about it. We still have to actually present it. And that's the easy part. Maybe for you. Stop being all pessimistic. What did I say about trusting in my plans? I sigh, smiling at him. Alright, fine. We'll be fine. Attaboy. He swipes his thumb across my chin and winks at me, grinning. There's that smile. For some reason, him saying this makes me blush quite a bit, and when he notices, he laughs awkwardly, leaning back. Hey, let's take a picture. Again with the pictures? I'm making a collection. Someone has to take your picture if you're not going to. He scooches over to me and whips his phone out, setting it up as he pulls me against the side of his body. Besides, when you're rich and famous, I'll sell them and make a fortune. I better get royalties. You'll be swimming in cash. You won't need it. Throw me a bone. He smushes his face against mine, grinning wide as he takes the picture, looking at his phone happily. Another good one. You think all of them are good. But you do look good in all of these. Fighting him on this always goes nowhere, so I just smile at him again. Whatever you say. He flashes me another smile, then gets up and heads towards the small kitchen. You want something to drink? Sure. What do you got? He opens his fridge and stares at it for about half a minute, making a long, sound the entire time. A half-full soda and a bottle of mustard? He takes out a cheese that looks green and gives it a sniff. Also cheese? Are you serious? Listen, I've forgotten to go grocery shopping. Don't you work at a grocery store? You're changing the subject. Am I? Well, I can't go. You're here with me, and then I'll be too lazy to go later. Then I'll go with you. You don't have to do that. Well, someone's gotta keep you company. Unless you don't want me to. No, it'd just be kinda boring for you, going grocery shopping. Not if it's with you. But I mean, clearly you don't want me to go. Alright, fine. I was saving you the boredom, but if you're that insistent, I'll be keeping you all night then, Russo. Fine by me. It's dark by the time that we go out, the night a lot colder than usual. Panting makes our breath fog up in the air, and Baxter rubs his hands together for warmth, blowing his hot breath into them. So much for spring. Do you want my jacket? What a gentleman. But it won't fit me. That, and I don't want to look like Dan from Bakugan. Remind me to never try to be nice to you again. Aw, don't be like that. There is an easy solution to this. He quickly swipes my hand in his, giving it a squeeze as he locks his fingers with mine. The warmth of them takes me by surprise, and I shudder at the change of temperature. Damn, your hands are cold. I'll warm them up for you. He takes my left hand and rubs it against both of his, as if trying to start a fire with wooden sticks, making a humming sound that shakes as he does. It's a silly, sweet gesture, and by the time that he's done with both hands, they feel like they're on fire. In a good way, somehow. Better? What is it about him, I wonder, that every word that comes out of his mouth makes me smile? That just being around him makes me forget about my worries, my heartbreak. Jakob. I have to remind myself that his heart is set on someone else. But as long as she hasn't made up her mind about him, I'm more than happy to keep him to myself. Yeah, way better. He smiles and, hand in hand, we start walking down the sidewalk. It occurs to me that this doesn't make any sense. It's late, there's no one around, and there's really no reason to keep up the act right now. And yet, here he is, holding my hand, swinging it like we're a couple of schoolgirls. Maybe it's just the type of guy he is. Or maybe we're both feeling the same way. I glance over at him, and to my surprise, he's already looking at me. He quickly looks away though, giving my hand a squeeze that may have been involuntary. Hey, so how are things going with the album? You've got the songs ready? Oh, yeah, I talked with Stella and she says that she's talked to her uncle. Apparently he's in Chicago, and if we want to record the album, we'd have to show his manager some of our music there. Whoa, going all the way there for a chance? It is a pretty big risk, but I think that'd be worth it. Imagine if they say yes. That would literally kickstart my career. We might have to do this soon, though. I don't know how much more time I've got. What do you mean? Well, Lizzie isn't gonna be in the band forever. Wyatt's graduating in a few months, and you're not gonna stay that long either. Who says that I wasn't staying? I mean, you've got basketball, Pricefield, Dhalia. I just assumed. If you don't remember, Russo, I joined the band before we made our plan. I like playing with you guys, and as long as I'm here, I'll keep playing. That's a very sweet sentiment, Bax. But think about it. When you end up getting back with Dhalia, what's she gonna think if you're still in your ex's band? That's... He really doesn't think these plans through, does he? He's lucky that he's so cute. So, yeah. The clock's ticking. I'll talk to the others to see if we can go next weekend. Can you? To Chicago? I mean, shit, this is short notice. But yeah, I'll ask for the weekend off. It'll be fun. We can sightsee, book a motel, share a bed. Oh yeah? Are we gonna fulfill that dream of yours? We're here. Bax, this is 7-Eleven. Yeah, everything that I could ever need is right here. What about fruits and vegetables? What about them? You aren't gonna eat them? I don't like fruits. Oh, your must be raunchy. Wanna find out? He chuckles and leads me inside, the white fluorescent lights making me squint as we walk in. Bax, you work at a grocery store. Don't you get discounts there? It's too far. Besides, I get discounts here too. You do? Hey Baxter, Mylo. A familiar booming voice calls out to us from the counter, and waving goofily is Oreo, all smiles as we walk over to him. Hey Oreo, busy night? Like always. There's no one here but us. You brought Mylo tonight? What's the occasion? Is he staying over at your place? I wish. He has to go back home, but I'm just stocking up and he's keeping me company. Isn't that sweet? Maybe I was wrong about you two. I was starting to think that you guys hooked up to make Dhalia jealous, but after seeing you guys go at it at the party, those doubts are laid to rest. I blush hearing this, and looking over at Baxter tells me that he's not faring any better. Haha, totally. A Mylo, baby? Can you go get like 5 ramen cups and some chips, any kind? Ah, right. A little confused, I grab a little basket and get Baxter his things, hearing him talk to Oreo in a hushed tone that I can just barely make out. So maybe don't mention Dhalia in front of Mylo. I doubt that he likes hearing about it. Ah shit, my bad. Didn't even think about that. You're right. Is he actually cool with the fact that you still talk to her? Does he know? Yeah, he knows. There's nothing between me and Dhalia right now though. Really? I see you text her all the time though. Are things really over between you guys? I don't really like to think about you using Mylo to make her jealous. It's not like that. It's exactly like that. But it's not like it isn't the same with me. If you're sure, I believe you, man. Mylo seems like a great guy, so don't go breaking his heart. Yeah. I wait a moment before joining them again, then walk up to the counter pretending that I didn't hear a thing as I hand Baxter the basket. Here you go. Aw, thanks, babe. He smiles at me and rubs my shoulders in that soothing way he does, looking at me almost apologetically. Hey Mylo, want a Slurpee? On the house. Are you allowed to do that? Nah, I'm a wanted man with a warrant off for my arrest. But what's one more Slurpee, right? He grins at me and nods over at the stand, and Baxter heads over to grab one. What flavor you want? Cherry. Gotcha. He comes back and holds a drink towards me, and I grab it gratefully. Thank you. Hey Bax, is it cool if I talk to you about something? Oh, He looks over at me, but I just give him back the drink and smile at them. No worries, I'll wait outside. See you around, Oreo. Bye, Mylo. Oh, before I forget, tell Baxter to give you my number. Why would I do that? Relax, don't get all jealous. It's so you can give it to your dear friend Stella, right? Man, she was hot. We danced at the party for a while, but I guess I was too drunk to notice her leaving. She's gorgeous though. I gotta see her again. Do me that solid? Sure thing. It's definitely not my place to tell him about, well, that. But I hope he doesn't mind it. I step back out into the cold night air, sitting in the curb much like I did the night I met Stella. Maybe it's deja vu. Maybe it's being left out of the conversation again. Or maybe it's simply just being alone with my thoughts for the first time all night. But, as always, my mind goes back to him. I run my hands through the sidewalk. It's dirty, but I don't really care. Wasn't it somewhere just like this, when I was falling in love with Jakob for the first time? It was a complete contrast from tonight. The air was hot, sticky, and humid. My t-shirt clung to my body from the sweat. But it wasn't all bad. There in the backseat of Jacob's car, I waited for him outside the convenience store, thinking to myself how I even got to that point. I was giddy, naive, and Jakob was everything to me. Not too different than how I am now then. The door opened and he climbed into the other side of the seat, carrying 2 sodas in hand. He flashed me a smile, the kind of soft, cool smirk you write about in a romance novel, as he handed me one of them. Hey. Hi. He leaned back and sighed, rubbing his face in annoyance and sweat dripping from his face. It's so fucking hot these days. I don't know why you wanted to come out here. Maybe if you stocked up on drinks other than beer, we would still be at your apartment. He smiled at my teasing, opening the can with a loud fizzing sound. My bad, didn't take you for the picky kind. He took a swig of his drink, the sweat trickling down his perfect neck. I could barely breathe around him back then. His body was so new to me at the time, so foreign. I think it was the same for the both of us. We couldn't take our hands off of each other. You seem down though. He played with my floppy ear, a habit that he got into during the time that we were together. It died down when we broke things off, when classes started again. It was never how it was before or after that. Maybe a little. My dad keeps getting pissed that I'm trying to use my free time on the band instead of getting an internship somewhere. I mean, I'm already working during the summer. What more does he want from me? Well, music isn't exactly the most lucrative job to go after. Shouldn't I at least try? Now when I have the chance? You could also be getting connections for a more stable job. Honestly, maybe listen to your dad a little. It somehow felt like a slap to the face, as dramatic as it sounds in hindsight. Wasn't he supposed to support me as my almost boyfriend? You don't think that I could do it? Music is just a hard field to go into. I'm not saying that you don't have the talent, but it's good to have other options. Right. Yeah. I get it. Aw, come on. Don't be like that. Come here. He put both of our drinks aside and pulled me towards his lap, making me sit and face him. Whatever you do, you'll be good at it. I mean it. He leaned in and kissed me, and like a spell, every worry vanished from my mind as he did. What else could I do except fall in love with him? How could I, or anyone have stopped it? And if I knew, would I have wanted it to? In a world where it's so hard to find someone to love you, I felt like I finally found it. This tall, kind, handsome man wanted me, and I didn't care for the reasons or anything else. So I kissed him back, deeper than he ever kissed me before. That summer changed me. For better or for worse, I fell in love with Jakob's song, and almost a year later now, I'm still in love with him, and we're nowhere closer to being together. Is it me? Am I just not good enough? If I was more attractive, more talented, would we have already been together? I looked down at the sidewalk, blinking back tears. Maybe if I was better, Jakob would love me. But I don't think he does. And nothing that I've thought up to this moment has felt more like the truth than that. Mylo? Baxter's voice snaps me out of my daydream, and I look up at him standing over me, the bag of his ramen cups in his hand. He must have finished the drink already. Hey, what's up? I quickly blink away the tears in my eyes, blushing in shame as I jump up to my feet, chuckling. Nothing. Nothing, sorry. You ready to go? What were you guys talking about back there? Just some basketball stuff. Apparently there's gonna be a scout coming soon. I cling onto his arm and smile at him, leading him away from the shop and back the way that we came. Seriously? Here? And why your team? Ouch and ouch. We're doing really well this season, for your information, Russo. The one game that I went to, you lost. That was an off day. I'm sure. But that's exciting. Is playing professionally something that you want to do? Could be fun. He smiles at me in a way that tells me that he wants this more than just a little bit. You should. I think you'd be great at it. Thanks, Russo. I gotta practice way more if I want to impress the scouts, though. If you want to miss some rehearsals, I can tell the others. Nah, I'll make time. Anything for my cute boyfriend. You've been a lot more flirtatious lately. Is it because of that dream? I stop him and lean into him, wrapping my arms around his shoulders and hugging my chest against his. You can tell me, you know. I won't laugh. It's not exactly a funny story for you to laugh in the first place. He blushes, half-heartedly pushing me away. And you're one to talk. You're practically getting on top of me. Are you finally warming up to me, Russo? Did my charm work? Maybe. Or maybe this is a dream too, and I'm doing exactly what you want of me. You really want to know about it, don't you? I'm dying to know. Like, how did it feel when I was railing you? In one quick motion, he spins us and pins me against the wall nearby, leering over me with those glowing red eyes. Let's get one thing straight, Russo. I was the one topping. I shudder, trying to keep my composure. Were you now? Hard to believe. You're getting a bit too cocky for my liking. He leans in and starts to whisper directly against my ear, his hands rubbing up and down my waist as he purrs his story. You really want to know? Fine. And that was my dream. See, I told you it wasn't a funny story. I pull him back into me, grabbing his vest and making him lean right back to the distance that he was before. So, if right now was a dream, what would you want to do to me? I'd want to kiss you, just like I did the night of the party. Want to play pretend then? You've gotten pretty good at playing pretend, I'm gonna start to think that you're liking it. Is that a yes or a no? It's a yes. And without another word, he leans in and kisses me. It's different this time. The liquor and high of the party aren't here tonight. It's quite empty, sober, and that makes it feel twice as good. I'm not entirely sure what made me become so bold, but the more that he kisses me, the more I realize that I actually don't care. His tongue feels hot, wet, firm, and it tastes a lot like cherries. Maybe this is what his kisses taste like when they're not drowned in... And speaking of alcohol, the lack of it is apparent in the way he kisses me tonight. If I thought that he was meticulous then, he must be completely focused now. His hands cup either side of my face, and the sloppiness that I felt back then is nowhere to be found now. It's soft, deliberate, every move of his tongue against my own seemingly calculated to make me feel as good as I possibly can. And it's working. That hunger, that feeling of never wanting the kiss to end, it comes at me at full force and my grip on his vest tightens to the point that it makes my fingers numb. He's everything to me right now. If I could stay like this, with him, I'd be so happy. I'd be... The incessant buzzing in my pocket makes us stop and freeze in the act, and slowly he pulls his lips away from me, licking them and clearing his throat. Answer it. It could be important. Taking a step back, he pulls his phone out of his pocket and stares at it for a good moment. I can't tell exactly who the caller ID is, but finally he presses the button to accept the call and presses the phone to his ear. Hello? Hey, calm down. What's wrong? I'm not home right now, but... He looks at me for a second. No. Yeah, you can come over. Just let me know when you're there. Sure thing. I'll see ya. He hangs up the call and a look of guilt spreads across his face as he rubs the back of his neck, now avoiding all eye contact with me. That was... Dhalia. Is she okay? She's fine. She's just upset that she bombed a test and... wants to come over. That familiar feeling of jealousy bubbles up in my stomach, but this time I can't seem to swallow it down, no matter how hard I try. Oh. Mylo, I'm really sorry. It's fine. Go ahead. But you... I can walk home by myself. You already said that she can come over, right? You shouldn't keep her waiting. I'll make it up to you. You have nothing to make up to me, Baxter. This is part of the plan, isn't it? We got carried away again. Just like at the party. So, let's learn from our mistakes and not let each other get in the way of our goals. Go and don't worry about me. I tried my best to make my tone sound neutral, almost nonchalant, but it ends up coming out far colder than I meant it to. The guilt on his face only deepens, and he just stands there for another moment, looking at me, searching for... something. But this time I don't give him time to find it. Good night, Bax. Not waiting for him to say another word, I slip away and start walking the opposite direction, where I know home is... alone. Just like every other night. The night is stupidly cold now, and I hug myself for some semblance of warmth, walking as quick as I can without actually running, which just makes me breathe hard and fill my lungs with the icy air around me. It's stupid that I'm this upset about it, right? Or maybe I'm the stupid one for ever getting attached to him. This whole plan's stupid. So stupid. I blink back more tears, swallowing the awful lump in my throat as best as I can, trying not to cry. Not tonight. It's not even his fault. He's got it right. I'm the one who's a mess. Just because... Just because Jakob doesn't love me doesn't mean Dhalia won't love Baxter. I kneel down, covering my eyes, and just let everything out. I sob in the middle of the cold sidewalk, alone, under the full moon's bright yellow glow, and I realize just how much of a horrible person I am. Because for a second there, I had hoped Dhalia would never love Baxter back. I don't know how long the walk back home was, but my throat feels dry and my legs feel shaky by the time that I go in through the front door. To my surprise, though, my mom is still awake, sitting in the sofa and watching some show about doctors at each other in the hospital. She notices me walking in and gives me a bit of a tired smile. "Hey, hun, there's dinner in the kitchen if you want some." "Thanks, Mom." "Is everything okay?" "Mom, can we talk for a second?" Flabbergasted, she pauses the show and sits up straight, making room for me on the couch as I make my way towards her. Of course, sweetheart. What is it? What's on your mind?" How... how did you know that you were in love with Dad? That he was the right person for you?" "Where is this coming from, honey? Is everything okay with you and Baxter?" Y- yeah, I just... I want to know if it's the right thing to do to be with him." Hmm. Well, Mylo, honestly, I didn't know. Huh? Your dad and I dated for a while, but for the first few months, I didn't really think that it was love. He says he felt it from the moment that he saw me, but I think he's full of you-know-what. But eventually, one day while we were out for coffee, it just sort of clicked in that moment that I loved him. She smiles softly at the memory, a small blush on her face. So it was like an epiphany? I guess you could say that, but it wasn't the type of epiphany where you're surprised by the answer. Falling in love, it isn't something that happens in an instant. It's slow and very sneaky. The epiphany isn't the moment that you fall in love. I don't think that exists. The epiphany is realizing that you've been in love with them for a while now. She runs her fingers through the back of my ear, a soothing motherly touch that makes me want to cry all over again. You're young, Mylo. It's normal to have doubts about who you're with, if it'll last, if they're the one. You think that the first person you fell in love with will be the love of your life, but sometimes that doesn't happen. And you know what? That's fine. Because you know what's so beautiful about us as people? It's that we can love again. Our hearts break, but they mend. We cry, but the tears always dry up eventually. And then you meet someone new, someone you never expected could change you the way that they did. And you end up loving them more than you ever loved whoever came before them. I slowly fall onto her chest and she hugs me tightly against her, cradling me like a child. Mom? Yes, honey? Do you ever think that you made the wrong choice with Dad? No. I think, as cliche as it sounds, love is the kind of thing that, when you know it's right, you just know. Because they feel like home to you, like being apart from them feels like holding in air, and seeing them again feels like breathing again. The feeling that, even if you won the lottery tomorrow, and you could get anyone you wanted, you'd still choose them. That is what love feels like to me. It was a midnight, not too different from this one. The band had gone to a party to a club near the center of town, and thanks to some connections, Wyatt got Lizzie and I fake IDs so that we could go in. It was a relatively normal night, until it wasn't. Jakob had disappeared halfway through, and I, with my big fat crush, went looking for him, and lo and behold, drunk in the back alleyway of the bar, there he sat, head on his knees, his arms covering his face. Jakob, what are you doing back here? The others are worried sick. He drunkenly looked up at me, and that's when I saw it. Tears streaming down his face, his eyes bloodshot red. It was the only time that I've ever seen him cry. Oh no. Jakob, what happened? I sat down next to him, the smell of beer emanating from him like an aura, and he looked up at me for a long, unflinching minute. Reyna left. Reyna, his girlfriend at the time. I both hated her and wanted to be her, for several reasons. Left? Where? To London, or Europe. I don't fucking know, she just did. London is Europe. She went to some hotshot college and decided that she didn't want to do long distance. So it's over. Oh, Jakob, I'm so sorry. I hated seeing him like that, so torn up, so sad. I grabbed onto his arm, trying to soothe him. I had no idea the innocent gesture would be the death of me. I can't believe that she wouldn't at least try to be with you. You're such a great guy. I'm sorry. He looked down at my hand, then back up at me. And then he kissed me. My first kiss was stolen by the man of my dreams, next to a dumpster behind a cheap, loud club. It tasted like tears, like sadness and loneliness and desperation all mixed into one, and I had no idea if it was his or mine. I was dumbfounded. I had no idea what to do, how to kiss him back, whether I should or not. But that was a spark that set everything in motion. The first time that he kissed me, but definitely not the last. The moment I felt like all those months of pining over him finally paid off, in this drunk, excited moment. This was my epiphany, the moment that I fell in love with him. But Mom said epiphanies like that don't exist. And I'm starting to believe her. Memory after memory floods my mind, of Jakob and our moments together. Have they always been tainted blue? Has the sun ever shined on us, even for one moment? I called it love so easily because I never had a basis for what love really feels like. I convinced myself over and over again that he was the love of my life, that every obstacle was a test that I was too stupid to pass and overcome. But sitting in my bedroom, looking up at the ceiling, the reality hits me like the end of some movie that I might have seen before. I was never in love with Jakob. And he was never in love with me. And that's where I'm going to leave it for today. So, he finally had the moment that I was hoping for. Where he finally realized that what he and Jakob had was never love. That it was all just, without really sugarcoating it, a drunken moment. But it's good that it happened finally. Unfortunately, it came a little late, don't you think? And there is, for the moment, 2 more chapters, acts, whatever you want to call them. So there is the chance that perhaps things with Baxter might, become something that Mylo might want. But there is also the definite feeling that perhaps things between Baxter and Dhalia might improve. Because like Mylo said, Dhalia clearly likes Baxter still. But perhaps it might not have been perhaps whatever feelings that Dhalia had for Baxter might not have been pushed forward had Mylo not been so yeah, you like him, don't you? He's a good guy, isn't he? Etc, etc. So yeah. Poor Mylo, always getting the short end of the stick. Again, as I said before, especially at the beginning, I do really like this story because it always has its ups and downs, and sometimes each down is way more devastating than the previous one. But that's kind of why I like the story, because it's not sugarcoating this relationship. It's not going like, oh, we love each other, we're gonna overcome everything. I mean, they might, but like, there's definitely the pitfalls that you have to go over before you overcome it, because a lot of stories that revolve around love tend to sort of gloss over the pitfalls, or they tell you about the pitfall, but they never actually deal with it. They literally just go around it. Or something conveniently happens and everything is good. And I'm not saying that a lot of FVNs are guilty of it, but some of them are. And it just might be coming from me, who likes drama, who likes the drama, who likes the tears and everything. But it's because I like things to feel realistic. And I know for a lot of FVNs, it's supposed to be a little bit wish-fulfilling, but like, you know, there's only so much that can, you know, entertain you. But yeah, anyways, so what are your thoughts? What do you think is going to happen with Baxter and Mylo, or with Baxter and Dhalia, I guess? What's going to happen between Lizzie and Wyatt? Because that's another, you know, another thing to look or to remember, because Lizzie doesn't want to just focus on music. And at the very least, Jakob was right about that. Like, music as a career is a very hard thing to get into. And I mean, like, you could have your own little niche, you can make music, but it might not make it big. You're gonna have to do something else if that happens. And her boyfriend, who I'm assuming she wants to have a future with, which, you know, referring to Wyatt, wants to pursue music, that might put them in a very difficult, or a very different paths, I guess is a better word, for Lizzie and Wyatt. But oh well, we'll see, I guess, later on. And again, what are your comments? You know, write it down in the comments. And thank you all for watching / listening. If you would like to read what it feels like and, you know, figure out what's gonna happen in, what is it, part 6 and 7, then you can do so by going down into the link in the description, which should have a direct link for the itch.io page where you can download the game and play it. Or if you want to play any of the other visual novels that this person has done, which, I mean, I already did one of them, but there is another one, which apparently is still very good. Like both of these are very good, like this one and the other one, but I forgot what the other one's called. Think about a missing person and trying to figure out what's happened when you've been gone. But anyways, but yeah, that one. And they do have a Patreon in case you want to support this project, or I guess the author and all their other endeavors. And honestly, I feel that it's worth it, especially if you really like this story. But yeah, so all my other links down in the description. And I guess that's it for now, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.